gets exposed more next season? Mahomes without Tyreek or Tua with Tyreek?
Skip, these guys were a perfect match for each other because they played to what the other did really, really well.
I mean Mahomes and Tyreek.
Mahomes and
yes.
Tyreek.
Yes.
Skip, this was a perfect match. This was McCartney and Lennon. This was Siskel and Ebert.
Let's not go to McCartney and Lennon.
Yeah.
we come on. We're going to get struck by
we're not gonna get
lightning.
struck.
Yes,
Skip,
we are. It's going to come right through the ceiling.
They were great together. They still did well things apart, correct? But they just did it differently.
They were both very good apart, but they were not the same. Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
I believe these two. See, you make my point.
No, but you went way too high.
Skip, I'm just doing combos that were really great together, but when they went apart, they were still good, but it just wasn't as great as they were together.
You that. Okay.
Because what Patrick Mahomes does is his improvisational skill and his arm. What Tyreek can do, Skip, is his speed, that we've never really seen before in a very, very long time.
Yep.
A guy that can run fast with pads on. We've seen guys time fast in the 40 at the combine, Skip, but when they put those shoulder pads and helmet on, you're like, well, damn, you ran 4.29, you look like you're running a 4.5 out here. And so now I just think they're both going to have to do it different ways. Mahomes now, Skip, he's going to have to become like Tom Brady, methodically. Those big 50 and 60-yard bombs over the top that we saw against Tampa, they're not going to be there because they don't have anybody. Mecole Hardman has speed, but he's not the receiver that Tyreek is. No. Tyreek's going to need to understand the intermediate to the medium to short is where Tua excels. So now, Skip, he's going to have to catch a lot of stop routes, a lot of slants, where he don't really particularly like going in there because Tua doesn't have the arm strength. He doesn't have the improvisational skills that Patrick Mahomes has to take advantage of what Tyreek does really well, which get down the field in a hurry. So, Skip, I believe both of these guys will have success. But I think we shouldn't expect Patrick Mahomes to have those highlight plays where he rolls one way, throws the ball all the way back across the field to Tyreek, and Tyreek races in the end zone for a 65-yard touchdown. We shouldn't expect Tyreek to all of a sudden with Tua because Tua is not Patrick Mahomes. There are very few guys that's ever been Patrick Mahomes. But you've always talked about, like, that arm. That arm is so weak. I think I could throw harder than Tua. Tyreek is going to have to understand my days of having 3 or 4 touchdowns of 60 yards over the top, that's probably gone. I still can be effective, but it's going to have to be a lot more catch and run near the line of scrimmage as opposed to Skip 25 yards down the field and then Tyreek takes off. I think they're both going to be successful, but I just think they're going to have to do it in a different way. But if you look at when Tyreek missed 2019, Mahomes averaged 363 yards passing, 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 9 yards an attempt. So Patrick Mahomes can get it done. Skip, there's still Jarvis Landry is out there. They might get Jarvis Landry. They might go at the draft and take a wide receiver. There's nobody that's available currently, or they can draft at a later date and time that's going to be Tyreek. There have been very few, and we're going to talk about this later as far as deep threat. There have been very few guys like a Tyreek Hill. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is going to miss him. But if you put me to it, I believe Tyreek will miss Mahomes a little more than Mahomes will miss Tyreek. If you force me to choose one, I'm going to say Tyreek misses Mahomes a little more than Mahomes misses Tyreek because Mahomes still has Kelsey.
Okay. All right, I hear what you just said, but I'm going to go back to Jen's original question. I believe both these quarterbacks are about to get exposed to different degrees. Mahomes, I'll say a little bit, but significant bit, and Tua a whole lot. It's going to be career-threatening for Tua.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, he's on the hottest seat in the National Football League.
Any player.
They have done everything they could. They have opened the checkbooks. They have broken the bank.
Left tackle, slot receiver, deep threat receiver, running backs. 2
running backs. So they got Mostert and Chase Edmonds.
Right.
Okay, so, you've got all kinds of, it's just weaponry.
Yes.
And Armstead is, some people ranked him as the #1 free agent on the market as a left tackle.
Right.
Been hurt a lot, but still, he is a big stud left tackle. He can't help but help. He's just going to help.
Yes.
I don't love Connor Williams. I thought he was the weak link in my line, but they did get him to shore up what they didn't have at that left guard. Okay, so they can't do much more than they just did to make Tua a success. I didn't like him before the draft. You loved him. I think you're backing off now. I think you're saying Miami is not a contender. This won't vault them into contention.
I don't believe Tyreek pushes Miami into contention. But it's still going to be predicated on, as you mentioned, what does the quarterback do? He's going to have a season for the seasons.
So I think I'm hearing you say that you believe I was right and you were wrong about Tua.
Yeah, I didn't see Skip. I mean, I looked at him in college, but you might be right. The injuries maybe has ravaged him of some of his elusivity and his ability to push the ball down the field. Because now all he does is he's short fishing. He doesn't throw it deep. He's not trying to get deep. Everything is around. That's why Jalen Waddle had 100 catches, average 9 yards a catch, because everything is at the line of scrimmage.
And by the way, not only does Tua at his disposal have Tyreek, but Jalen Waddle is about as fast as anybody in pads. It's one of those two. So now do you not have the fastest duo in the league?
Oh, absolutely. And you throw in Cedric Wilson, and you throw in Gesicki.
I forgot about Cedric Wilson.
Skip, Gesicki is a very good tight end. He's a top 5 probably tight end.
Really good. You retained him.
Yes.
And I always liked Cedric Wilson. He's just a little baller is what he is. He will make plays. He'll make catches. He can throw it on occasion.
Yes.
Whew. I never liked Tua. I think he's a great young man. I think he's liked in the locker room, maybe not beloved, but liked. The reason he's not beloved is because he can't back it up on the field. So it's hard for the locker room to embrace him because they see the flaws. They see the ceiling is low for him because he is. What was the report? The ESPN report was he'd had 6 different surgeries at Alabama. I think it's 6 or maybe even 7.
Might have shook his confidence too, Skip.
It shook his confidence. Never had the biggest arm, but did get to throw to a track team of receivers.
Well, he got another one now. Got another track team.
He got another track team. And again, he'll compete. He'll do the best he can, but the ceiling is too low.
I agree.
It doesn't vault them into the top echelon of contention because you'll always be wanting at quarterback.
Right.
So this is interesting. So Shannon Sharpe says he was wrong about Tua, and he says he's wrong about Carson Wentz.
I ain't wrong about Carson Wentz. Skip. Carson Wentz had 27-7. He's wanted. I know a guy that went number 1 overall that's not wanted.
Indy dumped him.
I know a guy that
dumped him. That means Carson Wentz has been dumped twice.
I know a guy that's sitting on the trash heap right now.
Yeah,
he had the landfill, just waiting to get picked up.
I know a guy who's going to change somebody's life if they're smart enough to just go ahead and pay the freight.
Ain't nobody paying the freight for what?
Give him a first round.
It's damaged goods.
He's not damaged
yes,
goods. He just got fixed.
You sure about that?
Would you take Baker Mayfield or Tua right here, right now? I got Baker Mayfield.
I got to choose. I'd rather get eaten by a crocodile or alligator. I mean, both are terrible situations.
Well, they're the same, actually.
Crocodile and alligator are not the same.
Close.
One has a long snout, crocodile. The other has a more short snout, the American alligator.
The outcome is the same.
See?
Yeah, okay. So would I rather have Baker Mayfield or Carson Wentz? I think I'd rather have the guy who actually led Cleveland to its first playoff win in 26 years. I'll take that guy over Carson Wentz because W-I-N-C-E Wentz every time I watch
One guy's won a division twice.
Okay.
Has your guy ever won a division?
Yeah. And then what did he do?
He got
dumped by that team, and then he got dumped by another team.
He was about to be the MVP.
Yeah. And right now, Washington's looking around. Is there anybody? Maybe we should get Baker Mayfield.
No, they're not saying that. They're not saying, no, we don't want the Baker. The Baker burning the bread.
Now, let's go back to your Kansas City Chiefs, your Mahomes boy. Another one of those bandwagons that you drive. And he struggled last year. Had a rough patch, and then he got it back. He got it back. I give you this, but he had a hard time because he was still trying to live up to the hype generated in large part by his very large his head football coach, Andy Reid, who snatched him and stole him in the draft. And it's always been Andy Reid's favorite toy has been Patrick Mahomes, and yet Andy has put him on such a pedestal because he's allowed him to get away with near murder as a quarterback because the footwork gets to be terrible, and then it's behind the back, it's between the legs, it's left-handed, it's no look, it's this, it's that. It's globetrotter football.
Right.
And after a while, it will bite you in the butt in this league because you just can't keep getting away with it. And there was a long stretch last year, even when my team went up to Kansas City, when the final score was 19-9 because my team had the ball 12 times and scored 3 field goals, but Mahomes had it a whole bunch too. I guess he had it about 12 times and managed 19 points against my Dallas Cowboy defense.
Well, the thing that he had to learn, and we see him started to do that towards the end of the season, Skip, was patience. Because they started playing this shell coverage, which Tampa did in the Super Bowl, and everybody says, this is the way we're going to do it. And he would start out doing well, but he would become impatient. And he started forcing the football. And at the tail end, the last 5 or 6 games, Skip, he would take the back on the swing. He would take the shallow cross. He would take the 8-yard route. He didn't keep trying to force the ball down the field, down the field, down the field. And he ended the season. I mean, think about this. Over 4,800 yards, 37 touchdowns is a down season for Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
That's how high he set the bar for himself.
Okay. I think he just lost a whole lot of spectacular.
Yes, I would agree with that.
When push came to shove, he could get away with, where's Tyreek? I can't even remember what number did Tyreek.
10.
10, okay. He's looking for 10. Just where's 10? Because it's cheetah.
Yeah.
It's almost like cheat code is cheetah, right? Because you can just pass in prayer. You can just wing it in his direction. And I think Tyreek is, we're going to get into this. We're going to rank him all time here in just a few minutes. But I think he's actually underestimated as an all-time great receiver because he does so many things at every level.
You just look at his speed, Skip. You don't realize his catch and run after he gets the ball near the line of scrimmage.
Right. So if you want to, you can reverse it to you, just hand it to him. Or if you want to, you can just pop it to him for 3 or 4 yards and just let him fly and hope he finds a crease and he'll be gone.
In this offense, Skip, he'll be like a Debo Samuels. You see, now I don't think they'll run him like they ran Debo, but you see how they run all the jailbreak screen, the smoke screen, the jet sweep that they gave Debo.
He can't run through people.
No. But he can run away from people. He can run away from people, though.
Okay. Mid-range. You can use him at mid-range because any sort of comeback route or stop route, he's so fast.
Yeah.
He's got even if they're 2 DBs, they're just like they're full speed behind. You know, they're going as fast as they can just to make sure he doesn't run by.
Yeah, you got to bail up out of this. Okay. He gonna make you break it out of the back pedal.
If he just stops in mid range, he's going to be open.
Yeah.
And you can fling it to him. And the play of Patrick Mahomes' life, the one that changed Patrick Mahomes' life, was the play in the Super Bowl. That they're down at that point 20-10, and he has just thrown 2 pretty ugly interceptions. And we're pretty late in the game. It's 7:13 left in the Super Bowl against 49ers.
And it's third down.
Yeah, 3rd and long, 3rd and 15, and he just wings it, and it's like a punt into the flat to where he thought 13 was going to be.
10.
I mean 10. I'm sorry, I'm doing Odell.
Yeah.
And he just wings it out there, and how he was that open, I don't know, but it's because they were respecting his blow-by speed so much that Mahomes just says, I know he's out there, and that's pretty close to a no-look because he's got a rusher right in his face.
Well, Skip, on that play right there, what they run that formation, Tyreek normally takes it across the field like he did against the Patriots. So they're playing him to go across the field. Now he breaks it back to the sail route to the 7, and he's wide open.
Okay, it was the play of the Super Bowl because it
changed life for everybody.
Well, it did because if you get stymied on that one, you're 3rd and 15. Let's say it falls incomplete. It's 4th and 15 from your 35, and you're down 10 with 7 minutes.
I don't believe they
I don't think you can go for it.
I don't think so either.
So you punt, and then San Francisco, we know, can run the football. So if they run it and make 2 or 3 first downs, all of a sudden you're in a very deep hole. So that's the play of Patrick Mahomes' life. And to me, it's a punt. It's just he throws it up, and Tyreek had to come back and wave for a fair catch and caught it, and it's 44 yards of completion. They immediately cash it with a touchdown, and here it goes.
Here it goes.
And it goes crazy the other way. Okay? So that's what he can do. And then you brought this play up. I just want to show our faithful viewers, because you brought the play up against Buffalo. And this is late in the game. It's 1 minute and 2 left. And if we could see what Tyreek
They're playing 25. They're playing 25 coverage, what we call 22 man.
Just a little slant. And,
look at this.
And it's just like, look at all the Bills. Look, they're all jogging and he's running. They're reduced to looking like joggers, like Saturday morning joggers in the park, right?
No, nobody else is getting home on this play. No other receiver is getting home on this play.
And to your point, did he piece him? I think
he
pieced
did.
him. Okay.
Yeah, he did.
Once upon a time, he pieced the Buccaneers, and he paid for that in that Super Bowl, right? Okay, so the point is, every time I've watched him play, I say, have I ever in my career seen a man faster with pads and helmet on? I'm not sure I have.
I haven't either.
I'm just not sure. And I'm talking with a football under his arm.
And I played against Willie Gault. Sam Grady won the silver medal.
These are sprinters. Yes, these are track men. Yes.
Was on the Olympic team in '92, won the gold medal in Barcelona.
You did, yes.
Skip, they couldn't accelerate like this
not
kid.
like this. And again, it's even harder when you put a football on your arm because you can't really arm swing it. Yeah,
because a lot of people, Skip, they'll put the ball like Dion. He put the ball in one hand so he can really run fast. But Tyreek is still carried it up on his arm like a loaf of bread.
Right, and he's fairly small. He's 5'10".
Yeah.
Pretty compact.
Yeah, yes. But you can tell the way he's explosive.
But you know what? The best sprinters are always put together.
Yes.
It's almost anaerobic where you need power.
Right.
As it's not like the marathon where you just got to be as skinny as you can be.
Right.
You need power.
Yes.
To accelerate.
Usain Bolt is the anomaly. A guy that most of them are, like you said, Christian Coleman's, the Justin Gatlins, most of those guys, Maurice Greens.
Yeah.
They're built like that. Ben was on that stuff. But they're compact, like you said.
I got it. So what happened to me was that Andy Reid finally said, I'm going to bet on my quarterback.
Right.
Andy Reid has coached Tyreek as long as he could sort of put up with it because he's difficult. Right. He is the classic diva receiver. He's going to have his moods. He's going to have his issues. He's going to cause his problems and make little waves. I don't think big waves. I just think little waves. They stole him in the fifth round because he had
some off-field issues.
Had some off-field, one at Oklahoma State. They got him kicked out of Oklahoma State, in which it was alleged that he roughed up a pregnant girlfriend, and he wound up at West Alabama, a la Malcolm Butler, right? We're going to talk about him later in the show as he goes back to New England. But the point is that I believe Andy Reid finally said, I can figure this out. I can replace him. I can't replace my quarterback. So I'm going to bet on my quarterback because suddenly Tyreek has become too rich for our blood.
Yes.
Like he's going to command too much money. And the Dolphins, desperate, just said, we don't care. We'll pay the freight.
Because, Skip, if the reports are true, the Chiefs were willing to make Tyreek one of. The Miami Dolphins made him the. There's a difference between one of and the. One of the highest paid versus the highest paid. That's what Miami was willing to do. They gave him $52.5 million at the time of signing, and the other $20 million, 72, make it 72, becomes guaranteed at the first league year next year. So Kansas City couldn't go there when you got Mahomes, you got O'Brien Jr. on a franchise tag, you got Chris Jones, you got money tied up. You just played the guard that you got from Kansas City, Tooney. You just paid him like $16, $17 million a year. There's only so much. That's why, Skip, you go for it when you get that quarterback on a rookie contract. We're about to find out because guess what? Deshaun Watson just got $230 guaranteed. What's Joe Burrow? What's Justin Herbert? What's Lamar Jackson? What's Kyler Murray? Skip, you're talking about $275, $300 million fully guaranteed. It's going to become very, very incumbent that you draft extremely well because guess what? Joe Burrow is going to want $300 million. Jamar Chase is saying, hold on, I'm just as good as Tyreek and Devontae. I need me $30 million too. T. Higgins say, well, don't forget about your boy.
Yep.
So, and you just paid three offensive linemen.
You just did. So I believe Andy Reid finally sat back and he said that and Andy's, he's a great guy, but he's pretty full of himself. He thinks he's offensive genius. So he's thinking, with my offensive genius and that quarterback, the guy I snatched out of the nobody else
Nobody saw this coming.
Nobody saw this coming. It's Andy's biggest claim to fame in his career is Patrick Mahomes. So he's saying, I'm going to bet on him, and we'll figure it out. Because now we got firepower because we got the draft picks back. So now we can bundle them up, and we can go up in the draft. And there are, Mel Kiper's got 5 receivers going in the first round. And
got those 2 kids from Ohio State.
Olave and
I believe Jameson Williams would have been a first-round pick had he not. He still might sneak in late.
He still could, and that Drake London out of USC could go before any of them. And the Dotson kid out of Penn State will go maybe at the bottom of the first round. My point is, just pick your poison here. You know, whoever you love, whoever you fall in love with, they have the ammunition to go up and get. And I do not doubt they'll go get them. My point is, they will never, ever be Tyreek. I'm sorry. And they got Juju Smith-Schuster, who's a tough kid.
He's going to be a great compliment.
And he'll go inside and fight for it, and he'll take his punishment. He's more possession to me.
I agree.
Blow the top off. And you still got Kelsey, who's the ultimate security blanket for Patrick. But as I always told you, when I was rooting against my homeboy, certainly in a Super Bowl against Brady, Kelsey doesn't scare me. I know he's going to make some catches. I know he's going to make some 3rd and 5 catches and move the chains.
Right.
But he's not going to take the top off. He's not going to blow me off the field the way Tyreek did at Tampa Bay 2 seasons ago when he had 203 in the first quarter. 203 in the first quarter? There's no human alive capable of doing that except that guy. If you put Carlton Davis on him and say, you got him single. Really? Well, okay, good luck to that, right? So to me, Mahomes is going to he's going to have to figure out how all those other quarterbacks feel, because all of a sudden you don't have the ultimate difference maker. So now you got to start to figure it out. They're not going to be as explosive.
No.
He's not going to be as spectacular.
It might be even easier, Skip, because he's going to see more conventional defense. He's just not going to see one coverage basically the whole time. So now he just has to be patient. He'll see a lot more single high safety because they're not going to respect those other receivers like they played Tyreek. You could not play Tyreek single high safety. You might try to sneak it in here and there, but a steady diet of it, you're asking for trouble. You're asking for him to blow by you. And seemingly every route, they had someone going deep. Either Tyreek was going deep or Mecole Hardman was going deep. But somebody was running a go route and somebody was running a 7 route. Somebody was going deep. And now Kelsey gets an opportunity to work one-on-one against a linebacker, a middle backer, or your edge rusher, something like that. He gets to work one-on-one with a safety or a linebacker.
Okay. Here's my conclusion. Tyreek got his money. He got paid. He got set for life money.
Yes.
But he will dearly, to your point, miss Mahomes because he's going to have to just give it up. Like just give into it and almost feel a little semi-retired because if he doesn't, he's going to get really frustrated with that kid down there.
He's going to get frustrated, Skip, because normally when he run the go route, the ball hit him in the hands. Now the ball's going to be underthrown, probably be thrown out of bounds. And now he's like, well, I'm open. You come looking at the sideline. But, bro, just when you get a chance to go in the locker room, pull up your bank account, you're like, oh, I'm good. Go back out there and try to do it all over again.
Okay, and finally, I believe that your Denver Broncos, I've said this before, but now I believe it with even more conviction, they just won the West.
Hey, it didn't matter if he was there or not. We were coming. Well, the country was coming.
I know, but now it's a done deal.
Yeah.
You got this.
And Russ will cook and Denver.
Yeah, he'll cook. I agree.
Cortland Sutton,
you got
Patrick.
it all.
Yeah,
you got it all. Way to go.
Watch Jerry Jeudy. Now, I told y'all Jerry Jeudy, he just needed a quarterback. Now watch him put a season together.
Really?
Yes, sir.
I'll take CD
Can't wait. Excellent start to the morning, gentlemen, and we've got much more to talk about up ahead.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.